Hey y'all, I'm CQ and this is Spirit Gumbo, the podcast where we stir the spiritual pot with truth, spice, and sass. Today, we're talking about energy aura vampires, the ones who don't drain you with drama, but with attention, proximity, comparison, and unguarded access. These aren't the people who cry on your shoulder. These are the ones who quietly watch, copy, linger, or pull from your frequency. In this episode, we're breaking down what energy aura vampires are, how to recognize them, and how to protect your vibe without hardening your heart. You'll hear a story time called The Secret is Letting Things Simmer, where I talk about learning to protect ideas, dreams, and energy by letting them grow quietly first. We'll stir in a gumbo bite called Ice Ice Maybe, drop a tarot truth bomb to help you check your own energetic flow, and move into a powerful teaching about grounding, containment, and learning how to be the tree. This one is about energetic maturity, letting things simmer, choosing access intentionally, and learning how to grow without leaking your magic everywhere you go. So, grab your candle, sip your tea, and let's get into it. This ain't just talk. This is Spirit Gumbo with CQ. All right, now here's your gumbo bite for today. Something short and spicy to stir into your soul. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. This is usually where I attribute the quote to whoever said it. Except that while building this gumbo bite, I learned that it's commonly attributed to Oscar Wilde, who never said it. The version we all know was added onto somewhere during the great meme explosion of 2012. And honestly, that makes it perfect for the opening to talk about energy aura vampires. A really good metaphor for aura vampires is music sampling. If you're old enough to remember Ice Ice Baby, you already understand sampling and where things can get a little questionable. There's a legal way to do it and a not so legal way. Usually samples need to be attributed to the original artist, and they can only be used for a certain amount of time, say 15 seconds. If, however, they're not credited or they go over that time limit, legal battles happen. It's all about energy. And it's the same with aura vampires. Most of the time, they aren't doing it maliciously or with the intent to harm. They're usually trying to find themselves. They're drawn to something they admire, so they imitate it. But when they siphon, they drain. When they don't cite a source, they drain. This is why I always try to cite my sources, whether it's because a quote really resonates with me, like this one, or because I've learned a new teaching from someone. If I remember where something came from, I try my best to name it. Not out of fear, but out of respect for the energy and the idea. Now, take that with you and stir wisely. Storytime with CQ. The secret is letting things simmer. So, I have a confession to make. I am a very excitable person. I know it maybe doesn't always sound like it when I'm podcasting, but I truly am. When inspiration hits or things happen in my life, I want to share that excitement with others. Why? Because I want them to be just as excited and happy as I am. And in the past, well, let's just say expectations can cause letdowns and stagnation. I sometimes forget that other people aren't me. They don't show excitement the way that I do. And they don't care about certain things the way that I do. And it's not that they aren't happy or excited, they just aren't me. And honestly, I think that's how a lot of us experience our worlds. This isn't ego or narcissism. It's just the way humans are built. In the past, when inspiration has hit, I would share it with the world. I'd tell everyone what was coming next and soak in as much excitement as I could. And people would respond with excitement and buts. Those buts, usually things like, but I wouldn't do that. Or, but what if this happens? Or, but what if that goes wrong? Almost always came from fear on the other person's side. And that fear would drop my excitement. Sometimes to the point where I'd internalize it and then abandon the idea altogether. And again, I don't believe this was ever done on purpose. It's just human nature to respond to things through the lens of our own experiences. The way that I'm wired is some CQ ADHD, some social conditioning, and some learned experiences. I am a work in progress. I'm learning, I'm healing, I'm growing. And in that learning, I've learned to observe. And I've observed that one of my good friends, someone who literally comes out of nowhere with things, one minute she's traveling to distant lands on grand adventures, another minute she's written a book and had it published in a month. That actually happened. And suddenly our whole friend group has signed copies. She lives her life with relish, embracing each new adventure as the adventure is. And she doesn't really share what's coming next in her life. She just does. And then she shares later. I so deeply admire her adventurous spirit. She's one of those light people, the kind who lights up a room just by being in it. And watching her, observing her, reminded me of how spirit actually births ideas and creativity. It's a lot like being pregnant. A woman instinctively protects and nourishes the life she's carrying until it's ready to be born. Sure, the world can see from the outside that she's pregnant, but it's the internal tending that allows spirit to become flesh and eventually be birthed into this world. She doesn't need outside excitement or validation to make that happen. It just happens. What is needed is protection from outside interference, fear, and unnecessary influence. When I decided to create this podcast, it was the first time in my life that I consciously chose not to share with everyone what I was doing. I learned from observing my friend that what I create needs time to marinate, time to grow, time to simmer, time to go from a seedling to a tender sapling. It needs time to root itself firmly in the ground. Did it feel weird having conversations with people and not sharing? Absolutely. Did it feel a little like I was lying to people? Yes. Did I eventually get over myself? Also, yes. This is how we protect our dreams, our ideas, and even our energy by being more conscious about what we share and with whom. Because we live in a world that constantly encourages us to share every little detail of our lives. So, newsflash. No one cares that you ate avocado toast this morning, Karen. As a matter of fact, I really couldn't care less. But your lurker friend over there with jealousy issues, yeah, she might be a different story. And that's when I realized not every drain comes from a conversation, a conflict, or a relationship that needs fixing. Protecting your ideas isn't secrecy and it isn't fear. It's energetic maturity. Some drains come from attention without containment, from sharing too early, from inviting too many eyes into something that's still becoming. And that's where energy aura vampires live. Not in malice, but in unguarded access. Aura vampires aren't villains. They're just drawn to the light that hasn't learned how to contain itself yet. And once you understand that, you can start protecting your energy without shutting your heart. So let's talk about our main theme, your vibe, your flow. So, what is an energy aura vampire? Energy aura vampires are people who unconsciously feed off your energy, frequency, or presence, not through emotional exchange, but through attention, proximity, comparison, or fixation. Let's look at this from the aura perspective. Our auric field is an egg-shaped bubble of vibrating energy around our physical bodies. It's our energetic field, and it's there to help protect us from emotional residue, outside influence, other people's moods, unprocessed energy, and anything that doesn't belong to us. Aura vampires don't need access to our feelings. They need access to our frequency, our auras. These types of vampires, generally speaking, aren't in our inner circle. They tend to be acquaintances, coworkers, clients, friends of friends, and online followers. These are people who admire you a little too hard, who watch, copy, compete, or linger. They don't vent or drain our emotions. They leech vibration and frequency. These types of people can do things like feel drawn to you without knowing why, suddenly pop into your thoughts after interacting, leave you feeling foggy, tired, or irritated without a story, watch your work closely but rarely engage authentically, copy your tone, ideas, branding, or language, show up right when your energy spikes, or they linger energetically even after conversations end. And here's the key part. You usually don't feel emotionally hurt by their behavior. You feel drained or invaded. That's the tell. It's that unexplainable ick you feel after certain situations and you don't know why. It's also those interactions where you think, oh, that was pleasant, so why do I feel so off? That's your energy talking before your brain catches up. Why they're tricky is because they often aren't malicious, don't even know they're doing it, think they admire you, think they just like your vibe, or think that you inspire them. Most of the time, they're not trying to take, they're trying to become. A really good example of this is people who have just gone through an awakening. They're seeing everything from a totally different perspective, and they're trying to make themselves and their lives fit into a brand new reality. So they look outward, they study, they imitate what feels alive and resonates with them, not because they want to steal, but because they're trying to remember who they are. But admiration without boundaries still siphons energy, and uncontained attention is still a leak. Intent doesn't change impact. Energy still moves, whether someone means to move it or not. That's why awareness matters more than blame. Allowing flow with containment. Now that we've established what an energy aura vampire is, I know what you're thinking. CQ, how do I protect myself? And before we get into the how, I want to remind you of a few things. You are not selfish for protecting your energy, secretive for being selective, or cold for needing containment. You are learning energetic maturity, practicing sovereignty, and honoring your nervous system. When we honor ourselves by protecting our energy, our peace, and our vibration, we are committing one of the highest forms of self-love there is. And when we honor ourselves like that, it gives us more room to honor the people around us too. Remember, this is about keeping your vibration safe, not being aggressive. This isn't about them. This is about you. There's no need for fighting, confrontation, or paranoia. And yes, I said paranoia on purpose, because sometimes that weird, I don't know what's going on, but something is, feeling can make us feel a little crazy. Especially when we try to explain it to other people. I don't know about you, but there have been plenty of times in my life where I felt like something was off, and it took me a while to figure it out. That doesn't mean you're crazy, weird, or strange. It just means your energy noticed something before your brain had words for it. Protection looks like letting things simmer, sharing selectively, containing your light, not hiding it, and choosing access intentionally. Protection isn't walls, it's wisdom. The first thing you can do actively every day is grounding. When we are rooted and grounded, we are centered. When we are centered, we are better able to respond instead of react. And when we're centered, we can feel more easily when someone or something is trying to drain us. Think of it like the outer walls of a castle. It's the first line of defense. Grounding isn't about being heavy. It's about being home in your body. There are plenty of ways to ground. YouTube is full of grounding meditations, walking barefoot on the earth. One of my all-time favorites is hugging trees, gardening. All of these are really, really good exercises. You can also make yourself a grounding mat using moss. There are tons of DIYs on social media. You can carry any crystal. They literally come from the ground. But green crystals like moss agate and bloodstone are even more grounding. Another favorite of mine is quick, easy, and requires nothing but your imagination. When you feel awake, and if you're like me and not a morning person, you know what I mean. You can do this seated in a chair, on the floor, or standing up. This is a one-size-fits-all deal. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and visualize an egg around your whole body. From the top of your head, down through the floor, and around your feet. Take a few more deep breaths. Then, while you're inside that egg, imagine roots growing out of your hands and your feet and moving into Mother Earth. Try to gently push those roots as deep into the earth as you can. Take a few more deep breaths, and then you're done. Simple, easy. Before we get into this next part, I want to give a shout out to my inspiration for this whole mini-series. My friend and confidant is the one who gave me this teaching in the first place. Thank you, Jess, for all your wisdom, especially for teaching me how to be the fucking tree. Because honestly, that lesson changed everything. And yes, I did use the F word. This is exactly how we say it and how we say it to each other. And when I told her that's how I added it to this episode, she said, yes, you did it the right way. Grounding is your first line of defense, like the outer walls of a castle. But once you're grounded, there's another layer of protection that's just as important. It's your mindset and how you approach your life. It's learning how to stay in your own lane energetically, to grow without constantly looking around, to exist without performing. Jess and I call this being the fucking tree. When you think of a large forest, there are always a few trees that grow taller than the canopy. They have broken the glass ceiling, if you will. Those trees weren't told to be taller. They weren't given special nutrients. They're not super trees. So, why do they grow higher than the rest? Well, for starters, no one told them they couldn't. A tree doesn't watch the rest of the forest to see who's taller. It doesn't explain its roots. It doesn't announce every leaf. It just grows. Being the tree means you stop scanning for who's watching you. You stop adjusting your branches for attention. You stop leaking energy through comparison and performance. You center your attention on you, not egotistically, energetically. Aura vampires don't need your feelings. They just need access. And when you stop broadcasting every stage of growth, access naturally changes. You're not hiding. You're maturing. You're not shrinking. You're rooting. So, be the fucking tree. You don't have to explain your growth. You don't have to announce your roots. You don't have to invite everyone into the soil while something is still becoming. Being the tree means you grow anyway, quietly, honestly, in your own season. You don't need to perform your becoming. You don't need to prove your light. You don't need to dim to stay safe. Let your ideas simmer. Let your energy root. Let your light grow strong enough to hold itself. Be the fucking tree and let the forest adjust around you. And notice, I said let them adjust. People who imitate, copy, compare, or fixate usually do it because they aren't the tree yet. And even if someone copies your every move, even if they imitate everything about you, there will always be something missing. You, your experiences, your ups and downs, the sparkle that makes you you. So, let them. It's time for a Tarot Truth Bomb, where Spirit speaks through the cards and I don't sugarcoat the message. As I'm shuffling, I want you to ask yourself, where am I sharing too early instead of letting things simmer? Where am I leaking energy through comparison, performance, or over-explaining? And most of all, am I being the tree, or am I still checking the forest to see who's watching? All right, today's card is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords stands in the open air, no armor, no shield, just truth sharpened by time. Her crown is made of lessons learned the hard way. Her sword knows the difference between cruelty and clarity. She does not raise her voice. She does not chase understanding. She simply speaks and let the truth land where it may. This is the moment you stop negotiating your boundaries, the moment you realize you don't owe softness to those who ignored your silence. The Queen says, say it clean, say it once, then be done. What's real will remain. What isn't never deserved access to your energy anyway. Spirit said what it said. Spirit didn't stutter. Take it in, sit with it, and do what you will with it. Not every drain comes with a story. Not every lesson comes with a warning label. Some things just show up as a feeling, a heaviness, an off that you can't explain yet. And that's not you being dramatic. That's you being aware. Energetic maturity is learning when to share and when to let things simmer, when to open and when to root. You don't have to harden to be protected. You don't have to hide to be safe. You just have to grow with intention. So ground yourself, contain your light, choose your access, and most of all, be the fucking tree. Grow anyway, in your own season, in your own soil. That's it for today's brew. If something stirred your soul, stirred your sass, or made you side-eye your life choices in the best way possible, pass it on. And don't forget to follow, rate, and share your thoughts on any of our socials. In this episode, we talked about energy aura vampires. We learned about containment and being the tree. Next episode is the finale in this mini-series. Energy Vampires and Leaks Part 3 is all about technology energy vampires. We'll be talking digital boundaries, how constant connectivity creates leaks, and how to prevent the drain. Until next time, this ain't just talk. This is Spirit Gumbo with CQ.